Millionaire finds his mother cleaning in a luxury nursing home and discovers a shocking secret. Welcome to our channel. Before we start, please like and subscribe so we can continue creating stories like this. Alex was a young man of 28 years who had grown up surrounded by luxuries and comforts. The only son of a wealthy family, he had inherited a considerable fortune after the death of his father, a successful businessman in the real estate sector. From a young age, Alex had enjoyed a lifestyle that many could only dream of. Luxury cars, trips to exotic destinations, and a majestic mansion in one of the most exclusive areas of the city. However, despite having everything money could buy, Alex felt a void in his life that he could not fill with material goods. Alex's daily routine was monotonous. He would wake up late, spend hours in the gym maintaining his sculpted figure, and then dedicate himself to meetings with friends who shared his same lifestyle. Parties were a constant in his life. Endless nights surrounded by music, alcohol, and superficial people who only seemed to care about him for his money. Although he enjoyed the attention and glamour, deep down there was something that tormented him, a lack of purpose and genuine connection with others. He often wondered if he was truly happy, or if he was just trapped in a bubble created by his wealth. His friends told him that he had everything one could want, but a restlessness grew inside him that he could not shake. It was as if he was searching for something beyond the glitter and gold. His life was full of superficialities, but lacked the human warmth he truly craved. One day, while checking his emails, Alex received an offer to invest in a luxury nursing home that had been praised for its customer service and exclusive facilities. At first, he hesitated. Did you really want to spend your time in a place like that? However, something inside him told him that he should go. Maybe it was the perfect time to do something different, something that could give new meaning to his life. Determined to explore this opportunity, Alex scheduled a visit to the asylum. From the moment he arrived, he was overwhelmed by the elegance of the place. The hallways were adorned with works of art, and residents enjoyed recreational activities, surrounded by a welcoming atmosphere. As he toured the facility, he began to observe the interaction between employees and the elderly. There was warmth and respect in every smile and gesture. It was during this tour that Alex met Marta, an asylum worker in charge of cleaning. She had a simple but dignified presence. His gaze reflected the wisdom accumulated over the years and an innate kindness that gave Alex a strange but comforting feeling. Without knowing why, he felt attracted to her. As they exchanged a few words, Alex noticed how Marta spoke passionately about her work and how important it was to her to help the elderly feel valued and cared for. In that moment, Alex felt for the first time a genuine connection with someone outside the superficial circle in which he normally moved. That spark led him to wonder more about her and her story. The conversation was brief but meaningful. Marta shared a fragment of her life without going into too much detail. He spoke about his sacrifices and how he had come to the asylum looking for a decent job after facing many personal difficulties. Alex was impressed by her resilience and humility, qualities that he felt were in short supply in his own world full of excess. As he said goodbye, an inexplicable feeling accompanied him. He couldn't get the idea of Marta out of his head. He left the asylum with a mixture of curiosity and reflection on what is truly important in life, without knowing it yet. This encounter would mark the beginning of a transformative journey for Alex, one where he would discover not only his family roots, but also the true meaning of love and human connection. After his first visit to the asylum, Alex couldn't stop thinking about what he had experienced. The connection with Marta and the warm atmosphere of the place awakened in him a curiosity that went beyond a simple investment. However, his mind was still very focused on the financial aspect. The idea of diversifying his fortune and exploring new horizons prompted him to investigate more about the asylum. Alex sat in his office, surrounded by documents and graphs showing performance of his current investments. Despite being immersed in a world of numbers, his mind wandered to images of the nursing home residents and the dedication of the staff. There was something deeply satisfying about the idea of investing in a place that not only generated a profit, but also provided an essential service to the community. After all, many elderly people deserve to live with dignity, regardless of their economic situation. With a renewed sense of purpose, Alex began researching the senior care industry. He dove into reports on growing market demand analyzing statistics that revealed how the elderly population was on a rise and how this presented unique opportunities for investors. But beyond the cold data, there was a genuine desire to make a difference in the lives of older people. This was something new for him, something that gave him a sense of direction that he had lacked before. Determined to delve deeper into the operation of the asylum, Alex organized another visit. This time, I not only wanted to see the facilities, but also talk to those in charge and understand how the service could be improved. During his second visit, he met with the director of the nursing home, an older man named Don Ricardo, who had vast experience in geriatric care. The conversation was enriching. Don Ricardo shared moving stories about the residents and the importance of providing an environment where they could feel safe and valued. As the conversation progressed, Alex realized that there was much more behind the asylum's success than simply good administration. It was evident that Don Ricardo was committed to his mission and that all employees shared his passion for caring for the elderly. This commitment resonated with Alex and strengthened his desire to be actively involved. While exploring the place, he observed the residents participating in recreational activities. Some played cards, others enjoyed art classes, or simply talked with each other. The atmosphere was vibrant and happy. Alex felt internal satisfaction when he saw how a space like this could change lives. He wondered if he could contribute to further improving the quality of service through his investment. Aware that any financial decision had to be based on solid analysis, Alex hired a team of experts to evaluate the asylum from different angles: financial, operational, and emotional. He wanted to make sure his investment was not only profitable, but also aligned with his new emerging values about what really mattered in life. As the weeks passed, Alex continued to visit the asylum regularly. Each encounter with Marta made him question more about the meaning of family and human connection. His conversations with her became more frequent and deeper. Although she never revealed much about her past to him, her words were imbued with surprising wisdom. The initial idea of simply making an investment slowly transformed into a personal mission for Alex. I want to make significant and positive changes. He not only wanted to be a passive investor, but someone who could influence the real well-being of the elderly people in the nursing home. This is how Alex made the final decision. He was going to invest in the asylum and dedicate part of his time to creating specific programs to improve the quality of life of the residents. He was determined to get involved beyond money. I wanted to be an active part of positive change. This commitment would not only mark a new chapter in professional life, but also a very personal one, a path full of discoveries about himself and his family roots that were yet to be revealed. As Alex continued his tour of the asylum, observing every detail carefully, something unexpected happened. Passing through a hallway illuminated by soft sunlight, his gaze stopped on a middle-aged woman who was cleaning diligently. Her figure was slender, and although she wore a simple uniform, there was a dignity about her that made her stand out from the rest of the staff. It was as if the atmosphere around her softened, becoming more welcoming. Alex felt a shudder as he looked at her. There was something about his features that seemed strangely familiar, a spark in his eyes that evoked distant memories. He stood for a moment, watching her as she painstakingly cleaned the table in the common area. The woman looked up, and their gazes met for a moment. Alex felt an immediate connection, as if they shared a secret that only they knew. Intrigued, he decided to approach. "Hello," Alex said with a friendly smile. "It seems like you have a lot of work today." The woman smiled back, a warm smile that illuminated her tired face. "Yes, there's always something to do here," she responded kindly. "But I like it. Every little gesture counts toward making this place a home." Alex introduced himself and told him about his interest in investing in the asylum. During the conversation, the woman introduced herself as Marta. As they talked, Alex couldn't help but feel that there was something more to his story, something that went beyond his work at the asylum. Each word seemed to be loaded with lived experiences and hidden emotions. As they talked, Alex noticed how Marta spoke passionately about the residents. She knew each one by name and shared anecdotes about their lives. It was clear that he wasn't just there to work. He truly cared about the people he served. As he listened to her soft and confident voice, Alex became more and more fascinated by her. However, there was an unsettling feeling that accompanied it. Despite the emotion of the moment, he He couldn't shake the impression that there was something deeper between them. It was as if their lives were intertwined in some inexplicable way. He didn't know why, but he felt an almost visceral urge to get to know her better. "Have you been working here long?" Alex asked, trying to open the conversation even further. "I've been here several years," Marta responded with nostalgia in her voice. His eyes reflected memories of difficult times, but also of happy times shared with the nursing home residents. As they continued to talk, Alex began to notice subtle details about Marta. The way she moved, the way she smiled when she talked about someone she cared for. Everything seemed to resonate with him on a very personal level. Suddenly, a blurry image appeared in his mind, a forgotten memory of his childhood. A woman with features similar to Marta's looked at him with love and tenderness from the depths of her memory. Alex's heart skipped a beat as he realized he couldn't ignore that growing feeling inside him. There was something special about Marta, something that made him question his own family history and the roots he thought he knew so well. Determined to discover more about her and that inexplicable connection, Alex asked her directly, "Do you have family nearby? I would like to know more about you." The question seemed to take her by surprise. Marta hesitated a moment before answering. "My life has been complicated," he said finally, looking down as he nervously played with the cleaning cloth in his hands. "I have had to face many difficulties, but I am here, and that is what matters." That phrase resonated deeply with Alex. Marta's complicated life seemed to be reflected in the small pieces of her own story. The internal struggles, the constant search for meaning and connection. Without knowing it yet, that simple interaction would mark the beginning of a series of events that would radically change not only his life, but also Marta's life. As they continued to talk and share fragments of their lives, Alex felt how the emotional void that had accompanied him for so long began to be filled little by little. Marta's presence was comforting and liberating at the same time. He was beginning to realize that perhaps he had found not only someone special, but also answers to deep questions about himself and his family history. The connection was undeniable and powerful. Although they knew little about each other, they both felt they were destined to cross paths in this crucial chapter of their lives. Without knowing it yet, that chance meeting would mark the beginning of a transformative journey full of surprising discoveries and hidden secrets waiting to be revealed. The brief exchange of words between Alex and Marta left a deep mark on him. As he walked away from the asylum, his mind kept returning to her smile and the warmth of her gaze. That inexplicable connection wrapped around him like a cloak. I felt it was more than just a conversation between an investor and an employee. It was as if their souls had recognized each other in that fleeting moment. In the days that followed, Alex found himself unable to concentrate on his daily activities. Business meetings, phone calls, and financial decisions faded before the image of Marta, cleaning with dedication, speaking passionately about the elderly she cared for. The elegant life she had led until then seemed empty compared to the authenticity she exuded. Something in his being told him that he should delve deeper into his story. With that thought in mind, Alex decided to return to the asylum. "I not only want to see Marta again, but also to learn more about her life and career." He had felt a flash of curiosity that he couldn't ignore. He needed to understand why his heart beat so hard every time he thought about her. Upon arriving at the asylum, the atmosphere was as always, full of laughter, soft conversations, and the comforting sound of daily activities. But this time his goal was clear. He headed straight to the common area where he had first seen Marta. However, it wasn't there. Instead, he found other employees chatting with some residents. Alex felt a pang of disappointment, but he was not discouraged. He approached one of the nurses at the nursing home and asked, "Excuse me, do you know where I can find Marta?" The nurse looked at him curiously and responded, "Oh, Marta is in the break room. Sometimes you need a moment to relax after cleaning." Grateful for the information, Alex quickly headed towards the break room. When he entered, he saw Marta sitting alone in a corner, taking a brief breath. Her face showed signs of fatigue, but at the same time it radiated a serenity that attracted him irresistibly. "Hello again," Alex said as he approached. Marta looked up, surprised but smiling when she recognized him. "Hello, Alex," he responded with warmth in his voice. "What brings you here again?" They sat together, and Alex felt time stop as they talked. "This time, I didn't just want to know about his work at the asylum. I want to know more about her as a person. You intrigued me last time, Alex confessed, watching Marta's eyes sparkle as they spoke. I would like to know more about you and your story. Marta was hesitant at first. It was clear that there were parts of his life that he would prefer to keep hidden. However, the sincerity in Alex's gaze seemed to open a door to his deepest memories. After a few moments of reflective silence, he began to share snippets of his life. Years ago, I experienced difficult situations, he began in a soft voice. I grew up in a difficult environment. My family didn't have much money, and I had to fight for every opportunity. His words were loaded with visceral emotions and memories that painted a vivid portrait of his past. Alex listened attentively as Marta continued to talk about her difficult decisions and the sacrifices she had made to care for her loved ones. Every word resonated with him. He could feel the weight of his experiences and how they had shaped the strong, inspiring woman in front of him. I've always worked hard, Marta said with determination in her eyes. But I do it because I believe in the value of care and love for others. The passion behind his words was palpable and touched something deep within Alex. While Marta spoke, Alex couldn't help but think about his own life full of excesses and superficialities. Her daily worries seemed like trivialities compared to the real struggles she faced day after day. Suddenly, an idea arose in his mind. He had to do more than just invest in the asylum. I wanted to help people like Marta have better opportunities and dignity in their working lives. This desire led him to ask her a direct question. Marta, have you ever thought about what you would really like to do? Beyond work here. Marta seemed surprised by the question. His eyes filled with reflection as he considered his own repressed aspirations. I've always wanted to be something more, maybe help others in situations similar to mine, he confessed with a trembling voice. Hearing her speak like that, something inside Alex lit up even more. It was clear that there was a greater purpose waiting to be discovered for both him and her. The connection between them was destined to grow. They were not only destined to meet, but also to transform their lives together. As they continued to talk about shared dreams and aspirations, Alex felt the bond between them grow stronger and stronger. They were beginning to discover each other not only as separate individuals, but as two souls intertwined by past experiences and future hopes. It was a pivotal moment, the beginning of an unexpected journey towards self-discovery and personal redemption for both of them, where together they could confront the hidden secrets of the past and build a future full of meaning and shared purpose. As Alex and Marta continued their conversation, the atmosphere in the break room became more intimate. The light coming to the windows illuminated their faces, creating a warm atmosphere that invited them to share personal stories. It was then that Marta, sensing the sincerity in Alex's gaze, decided to open up a little more. I've been working here at the asylum for years, he began, his voice a little shaky. It wasn't always easy. My life has been full of challenges and sacrifices. Alex listened to her attentively, aware that each word was another brick in the construction of a story that had remained hidden for too long. Marta continued, talking about her childhood in a humble neighborhood where opportunities were scarce. I grew up in a family where there wasn't enough to eat and where every day was a struggle, he said with a sigh. From a young age, I learned that I had to work hard if I wanted to get ahead. His eyes were lost in distant memories, as if he were reliving painful moments he had tried to leave behind. I had to leave school at 14 to help my mother, he explained sadly. She worked long hours, and I took on responsibilities that did not correspond to my age. We cleaned houses and did temporary jobs just to survive. Alex felt a pang in his heart when he heard it. He realized how lucky he had been until that moment, not knowing what it really meant to strive for every small achievement. As Marta told her story, Alex better understood the strength of that woman in front of him. After a few years, I managed to get a job as an assistant in a nursing home. There I discovered my true passion, caring for the elderly. The way he talked about his work showed genuine dedication. His voice lit up as he mentioned the well-being of the elderly he cared for. When the asylum opened its doors, I did not hesitate to apply. It was an opportunity to have a stable job and do something meaningful, he said proudly. However, Alex noticed a hint of sadness in her words. Despite what I have achieved, I always feel like something is missing, Marta confessed, lowering her gaze. Alex felt the urge to get closer to her. what you feel you are missing. He asked softly, wanting to understand the depth of her pain. Marta took a deep breath before answering. Sometimes I think about the dreams I abandoned, on what my life could have been if circumstances had been different. Marta spoke about her aspirations to study nursing and how she had always wanted to help others from a more professional perspective. But life had taken her down complicated paths, where priorities were different and survival was the only objective. As she shared this, Alex could see not only the sadness in her eyes, but also a spark of hope that still shone. But here I am. Marta continued with renewed determination. I love my job, and every day I try to do the best for the residents of the nursing home. They have taught me so much about life and unconditional love. His words resonated deeply with Alexander. I could feel the pride and passion he had for his work. The conversation became deeper as Marta shared anecdotes about the residents who had left a mark on her life. There were stories of shared laughter, difficult times, and genuine human connections that forged a sense of community within the asylum. Despite the personal difficulties she faced, Marta found comfort and joy in the lives she touched each day. Sometimes I wonder if I will ever be able to fulfill my own dreams, Marta reflected as she looked toward the horizon outside the window. But in the meantime, I'm here to make a difference in the lives of others. Alex felt a wave of admiration for her. That dedication was something rare and valuable in a world where many were carried away by superficiality. With each word shared, Alex realized how much he wanted to help Marta achieve those forgotten dreams. The connection between them deepened. He was not only an investor interested in improving the asylum, but someone who wanted to be an active part of the positive change in Marta's life. Perhaps there are ways I can help you achieve that, Alex suggested with hope in his voice. We could work together to create programs within the nursing home that not only benefit the residents, but also the staff. Marta looked at him surprised. I had never considered that possibility. The idea filled his heart with excitement and fear at the same time. Do you really think that could work? He asked in disbelief. Yes, Alex replied firmly. I believe that we all deserve opportunities to grow and achieve our dreams. At that moment, something changed between them. They were not only two people with different lives seeking a common purpose, but companions on a journey towards self-discovery and change. With each story shared and each dream revealed, they began to build a foundation of a relationship based on mutual trust and a sincere desire to make the world a better place for those around them. It was just the beginning of a path full of surprises and unexpected revelations about their intertwined lives, a path where both would discover not only their own truths, but also the real meaning of love and family. As the conversation between Alex and Marta deepened, he began to sense that there was an even bigger mystery behind her life. The sincerity and vulnerability she showed intrigued him more and more, and his desire to know her deeply grew with each word shared. Alex knew that there was something in Marta's life that had not yet been revealed, and he was determined to find out. As they talked about their dreams and aspirations, Alex decided to ask a question that had been on his mind. Marta, he said softly, you have mentioned many difficulties in your life, but I'm wondering if there's anything else you'd like to share. Something you may not have mentioned because it's very personal. Marta was silent for a moment, her gaze drifting to the floor as she weighed her thoughts. It was evident that there was something tormenting her, something she had been jealously guarding. Finally, he took a deep breath and decided to open up. When I was young, I became a single mother. She began to relate in a tone of voice charged with emotion. It wasn't something planned. She was barely 19 years old when it became clear that she was pregnant. Her eyes filled with tears as she spoke. The father was not present, and I knew that he could not offer my son the life he deserved. I had no resources or stability to raise a baby. Alex felt his heart shrink when he heard her. Marta's story became more intense and painful with each word. I made the hardest decision of my life, to give him up for adoption, she continued, her voice shaking. It was the best for him. I wanted to make sure he had a better life. Tears began to roll down her cheeks as she remembered that heartbreaking moment. I remember holding him in my arms for the last time, feeling my heart break having to let him go, she said in a sad whisper. Alex understood the deep sacrifice that Martha had made. Giving a child for adoption was a decision full of love, but also of indescribable pain. Since then, I have lived with that burden, Marta confessed. Sometimes I wonder how he is, if he will have a good life, if he will ever know how much I loved him before I even met him. The words resonated with Alex, who felt an instant connection to his biological mother's story. Without wanting to be intrusive, Alex asked a delicate question. Do you know if your son had a good life? Have you had any way to contact him? Marta shook her head slowly. I have no idea where he is or how he is doing. I just hope it's okay. The revelation left Alex deep in thought. Marta's life had been marked by difficult decisions and immense sacrifices. There was so much love in her story, but also pain and longing. As he listened to her story, he realized that he felt deep empathy for her and her situation. That must be incredibly difficult, Alex murmured, trying to comfort her. You are a very brave woman for having made that decision. Marta smiled weakly through tears, grateful for the understanding and support. The conversation changed the course of the day for both of them. Alex began to question not only Marta's story, but also his own. The connection between them was more intense now. He began to feel an urgent desire to help her find answers about her lost son. Marta, he said finally, determination in his voice, I think we should explore this together. If you want to look for your son, I am willing to help you. His words surprised Marta. I had never considered that possibility. Would you really do that for me? She asked in disbelief. Alexander's eyes showed genuine sincerity. Yes, he replied firmly. You have the right to know what has become of him and how he has grown. That proposal changed the atmosphere between them. They were no longer just two people sharing personal stories, but two allies determined to confront the secrets of the past and seek answers together. The idea of undertaking this search filled Marta with hope and fear at the same time. It was a step into the unknown, but also an opportunity to heal old wounds. As they talked about how they could begin this search, Alex committed himself not only as a friend, but as someone willing to be an active part of the process. There was something powerful about that connection. It was as if the two were destined to meet not only to heal their own lives, but also to rediscover what it meant to be family. With every word exchanged between them, Alex felt the bonds grow stronger. They were no longer just two strangers marked by life, but two souls searching for answers and a path forward together. Thus began an unexpected journey full of exciting discoveries and surprising revelations about their own identities. A journey where they would both learn about unconditional love and the power of sacrifice on behalf of those they love most. As the days passed, Alex began to visit the asylum more frequently. Each visit became an opportunity not only to get to know Marta better, but also to immerse herself in the lives of the residents she loved so much. As he delved into the routine of the asylum, details about Marta's life began to emerge that intrigued him more and more. In their meetings, Alex noticed how Marta interacted with the elders. His treatment was always full of respect and warmth. I knew their names, their stories, and their desires. Each resident was an important piece in the puzzle of her life. Conversations with them revealed more about Marta than any words she could utter. I listened to the laughter shared, the anecdotes from the past, and the moments of tenderness that she offered to those who needed it. One day, while watching Marta help an old man play cards, Alex felt a knot in his stomach as he thought about the possibility that she had had a child. It was evident that she had a huge heart, capable of deeply loving and caring for those around her. But he also began to wonder if this overflowing love for others was a way of dealing with his own pain and loss. During one of his walks through the asylum, Alex met Don Ricardo, the director. Do you know anything about Marta's story? He asked curiously, not wanting to be indiscreet, but sensing that there was a deeper connection between them. Don Ricardo smiled wistfully and explained, Marta is an extraordinary woman. He has been here since we opened the asylum and has been through a lot of difficult things in his life. Intrigued, Alex pressed a little more. What kind of things? Don Ricardo looked at him with understanding. She was a single mother in her youth and had to give her son up for adoption. That marked her deeply, responded the director, aware of the weight of his words. The revelation struck Alexander like a bolt of lightning. Each piece of the puzzle began to fit together. The story he had heard from Marta now resonated with a much deeper meaning. She was not only a dedicated worker, but also a mother who had faced unimaginable sacrifices for the well-being of her son. As he continued to visit the nursing home, Alex began to notice additional things about Marta. There were small gestures she made when talking about the residents. His laugh became melancholic as he remembered old times, and his eyes shone as he told stories about his own past experiences. Sometimes, when she thought no one was watching, she would get lost in distant memories for a few moments before returning to the present. One afternoon, while they were sitting on a bench in the guard of the asylum, Alex gathered the courage to ask, "Marta, is there anything else about your son that you haven't told me?" She looked at him surprised. It seemed as if he had touched on a sensitive topic. However, after a brief silence, he decided to open up again. "I've thought about it a lot," Marta began. "Sometimes I wonder if I will look for it one day, or if it is better to leave it alone." The vulnerability in her voice echoed with Alex. I could feel the internal struggle he constantly faced. "What if I told you I could help you find him?" he asked, feeling that idea grow stronger within him every day. Marta's eyes widened with surprise and hope at the same time. "I don't know if I'm ready for that," she answered honestly. However, that conversation ignited something within both of them. There was a shared desire to discover the truth and seek answers that had remained hidden for too long. Alex felt how each visit to the asylum brought him closer, not only to Marta, but also to his own family history. With each encounter, the pieces of the puzzle connected even more strongly. Alex was beginning to see patterns in the stories shared by Marta and the nursing home elders. There were recurring themes about sacrifice and unconditional love that resonated deeply in his heart. The conversations between them became deeper. They shared their fears and longings as they explored the possibility of searching for Marta's lost son together. The idea not only gave them hope, but also a renewed purpose in their lives. Meanwhile, Alex continued researching possible methods to track down Marta's adopted son. She realized that this was not only important to her, it was also a way for him to find answers about himself and his own identity. The connection between the two grew day after day. They weren't just two people finding solace in their respective painful stories, but two souls seeking redemption and purpose together. As they spent more time together in the asylum, they began to become inseparable accomplices in this quest to discover the truth behind the hidden past. This is how Alex and Marta began an emotional journey towards searching for answers and rebuilding their lives. A journey where they would both learn about the value of unconditional love and chosen family, while delving deeper and deeper into the depths of their own personal stories. One sunny day, while Alex was in the asylum, he decided to explore an area he had overlooked on his previous visits, the archives room. He had mentioned to Marta his interest in learning more about the history of the asylum and how it had grown over the years. Marta had talked to him about the importance of preserving the residents' memories and stories, so Alex felt it was a good opportunity to do so. The room was filled with shelves full of documents, old photos, and resident files. While leafing through some files, Alex felt immersed in the lives that had passed there. Each leaf told a story of love, loss, and hope. But what really drove him to keep searching was an instinctive feeling guiding him toward a particular file, one that seemed out of place. After several minutes of searching through yellowed papers and worn documents, Alex found a dusty folder with the name Marta on the label. His heart skipped a beat. Something inside him told him that he should open it. With trembling hands, he took out the folder and began to look through its contents. The first thing he found were some handwritten letters, but one in particular caught his attention. It was a letter dated more than 2 decades ago, with a formal tone but loaded with emotion. As he read the carefully written words, his heart began to race. The letter talked about a single mother who had made the difficult decision to give her son up for adoption. Tears began to well up in her eyes as she continued reading. The mother expressed her unconditional love and her fervent desire for her son to have a better life. Each word resonated deeply with Alex. I could feel the pain and sadness behind every sentence. But it was at the end of the letter when it all made sense. One specific line caught his attention. "I will always carry the name of my son, Alex, in my heart." At that moment, the world stopped around them. An icy cold ran down his spine as he realized the magnitude of what he was reading. The mother mentioned in the letter was Martha, and he was the son she had talked so much about. The revelation overwhelmed him. His thoughts raced through his mind as he tried to process what he had just discovered. The woman he had met as an asylum worker, whom he had come to deeply admire and respect, was his biological mother. Everything fit. Their inexplicable connection, the flashes of recognition he had felt from the first moment he saw her. Alex felt as if the ground was disappearing beneath his feet. He sat in a nearby chair to catch his breath, trying to take in the enormity of the discovery. Questions began to arise. How had he been able to find her? Why had he never told her? What would this mean for both of you? As her thoughts spun frantically in her head, she felt an overwhelming mix of emotions. Joy at finally finding her birth mother, sadness at the painful story behind that separation, and fear for what this would mean for both of them in the future. With his heart pounding, Alex closed his eyes for a moment to calm himself. I knew I should talk to Marta about this, but I wasn't sure how to do it. The thought of facing this revelation filled him with both hope and fear. Finally, he decided to leave the archive with the letter firmly held in his hands. As he walked toward the area where he knew he would find Marta, each step seemed more significant than the last. It was as if he was walking into a new chapter in his life, one full of uncertainty, but also full of possibilities. When he arrived at the nursing home garden, he saw Marta sitting on a bench talking with one of the residents. His illuminated face showed that unconditional love he had always had for others. In that moment, Alex knew that he had to be honest with her. I couldn't hide this discovery. Marta, he said with trembling voice as he approached, I need to talk to you about something very important. Hearing his serious tone, Marta dropped the conversation and looked up at him with concern. What's wrong? She asked, noticing the intensity in his eyes. Alex took a deep breath before continuing. I found something in the asylum archives, something about your life, something about me. The word stuck in his throat as he struggled to find the right way to express what he had discovered. Martha frowned. I could see the anguish on his face. What are you taking about? She insisted, fearing the worst. You are my mother, Alex finally exclaimed, showing the trembling letter in his hands. Marta's eyes widened in disbelief as she took the paper and began to read it. In that moment, they both knew that they were on the verge of a monumental change in their lives. A shocking secret was finally coming to light. The revelation would not only change their lives forever, but would also open a path to mutual understanding and the opportunity to heal old wounds from the past together. The search to rediscover themselves as mother and son was about to begin. A journey where both would have to face not only their fears, but also the unconditional love that had always existed between them. The revelation that Marta was his biological mother impacted Alex in a way he had never imagined. As she read the letter, he felt an overwhelming mix of emotions wash over him. Confusion took hold of him. Everything he thought he knew about his life and his identity was shaken. It was as if the ground shifted beneath her feet, and her world, until then perfectly ordered, became a chaotic series of unanswered questions. When Marta finished reading, she looked up at Alex with tears in her eyes. I don't know what to say, she murmured, her voice shaking. But Alexander was too deep in his own thoughts to respond immediately. Rage began to bubble within him, not against Martha, but against life itself. He felt betrayed by a fate that had kept him away from his mother for so long. Why didn't you tell me anything? He finally asked, his voice filled with frustration. Why did you ever hide it? How long have you known this? Every word that came out of his mouth was laced with pain and disappointment. The sadness he had felt upon learning of Marta's sacrifice was now mixed with anger at the fact that they had spent so many decades apart. Marta tried to explain herself, but Alex couldn't listen to her. I've always had everything I could ever want, he continued, feeling increasingly overwhelmed. A fortune, success, recognition, and yet I feel empty? What does all this really mean if I don't have my mother in my life? The wealth he had accumulated seemed insignificant compared to the pain and loss he felt at that moment. As he spoke, a wave of sadness washed over him. Alex began to question every aspect of his life. The lavish parties, the sports cars, the fancy dinners with superficial friends. What value were all those things if he had never known the truth about their origin? The feeling of isolation was growing stronger. Although he had always been surrounded by people, he had never had that authentic connection that he now desperately craved. Marta, with tears streaming down her cheeks, tried to find the right words to calm him down. I never meant to hurt you, he said, his voice breaking. I made the hardest decision of my life to put you up for adoption because I wanted the best for you." His sincerity was palpable, but Alex felt that his words were not enough to alleviate the pain that consumed him. "And what about me? What about me?" Alex replied, his voice echoing in the tense air of the asylum garden. The idea of having been an abandoned child tormented him. Not only was he dealing with the fact that he had lost his mother for so many years, but also the revelation that that mother was right in front of him. The existential emptiness I had felt for so long transformed into an emotional torrent. As the conversation progressed, confusion gave way to deep introspection. Alex began to remember moments from his childhood. The lonely nights in his luxurious room, the constant desire to be loved and understood. Each memory seemed to take on new meaning. He now understood that he had been seeking it through success and wealth. "Who am I really without all this fortune?" he asked himself out loud. The search for identity became a recurring theme in his mind as he reflected on how his life could have been different if he had had Marta by his side from the beginning. Marta watched Alex with concern. I could see how he struggled with his emotions and how every word resonated strongly with him. "Alex," she said finally, trying to calm him down, "I can't change what happened in the past, but I'm here now. I want to build something with you." Her words gave a small glimmer of hope to Alex. Maybe there was still a chance to heal together. However, confusion remained present in his mind as he tried to reconcile himself with the idea of being part of the world beneath the asylum where Marta worked and at the same time leading a life full of luxury. "I need time to process all this," Alex finally admitted, feeling the emotions continue to flow through him like an overflowing river. He didn't know how to move forward or what steps he should take to reconcile himself to this new reality. Marta nodded with understanding. I knew this was a difficult time for both of them, and that they would require patience and understanding as they navigated this new relationship. "Take all the time you need," he replied softly, with those words echoing in his mind. Alex realized that he had a path ahead full of challenges and discoveries. The complex combination of confusion, anger, and sadness was slowly beginning to transform into a search to understand who he really was and how he could rewrite his story with Marta. As they walked together into the asylum, Alex felt a faint but significant spark. Although the path would be arduous and full of emotional obstacles to overcome, there was also potential for redemption and family reconstruction. A renewed hope began to blossom in their hearts to find answers and rebuild their lives together in this unexpected new chapter. The confrontation between Alex and Marta had left an emotionally charged atmosphere in the asylum garden. They both knew they faced a monumental challenge, rebuilding a relationship that had been broken for years, but also deal with the pain of the past that had kept them apart. Alex, with a pounding heart and a mind full of questions, decided it was time to delve deeper into this new reality. "Marta," Alex began, his voice firm but broken with emotion, "I need us to be honest with each other, especially about what has happened and how we got here." Marta nodded slowly. His face reflected a mixture of fear and determination. He knew it was crucial to address their feelings and the secrets they had been hiding. "I'm overwhelmed," Marta confessed, her eyes filling with tears. "I never imagined this day would come. I have always carried the weight of my decision as a secret, and now, facing reality is terrifying." Alex could see how difficult it was for her to open up. His life had been marked by sacrifices and constant struggle. "I understand," Alex said softly, trying to convey his support. "But if we really want to rebuild this, we need to be honest about the pain we've both felt." The conversation became serious and deep. It was time to unearth not only their individual emotions, but also the unmet expectations they had carried for years. Marta took a deep breath before continuing. "I can't change what I did or erase the pain I feel for losing you. Every day, I have wished I could have made different decisions." Her words were full of regret, and Alex felt the weight of the past begin to fall on both of them. "I have also felt that emptiness," Alex confessed, his voice charged with emotion. "I have always sought to fill that gap with material things, but I have never found the true connection I longed for. Now I know why." As they spoke, they could feel how each word spoken was a step toward healing. They were beginning to undo the layers of pain accumulated in their hearts. "How can we move forward?" Marta asked, still feeling lost in the middle of the emotional storm. "How can we rebuild what has been lost?" Alex thought for a moment before answering. I think we should start from where we are now. We cannot change the past, but we can build a future together. Marta looked at him with hope in her eyes. And what does that mean for us? Alex smiled slightly at her sincere question. It means opening up to each other, sharing our stories, and building a relationship based on trust. I really want to know you, Marta, not only as my biological mother, but as the incredible person you are today. As the days passed, they began to establish a new bond. Each meeting was filled with deep conversations where they shared their dreams, fears, and expectations. They talked about what their lives were like before they met, the winding paths they had taken, and the difficult decisions made at critical moments. One afternoon, while they were walking to the nursing home garden, Marta shared a special memory. I remember when I decided to give my son up for adoption. It was a cold night, and I was full of fear. I only wanted the best for you. His words resonated deeply with Alexander. I could feel the love behind that difficult decision. And I thank you for that, Alex answered sincerely. However, it also hurts me to know what you had to go through. In that moment, they both understood how intertwined their lives were. Each individual challenge had its echo in the lives of the other. However, not everything was easy. Sometimes the shadows of the past came back to haunt them. In moments of shared silence, painful memories emerged without warning. Once, while they were talking about their past experiences, Marta began to cry when remembering her lost son. I feel like I'll never be able to let him go, she admitted between sobs. It's something I have to live with every day. Alex felt deep compassion for her. Not only had he lost his mother for years, she now realized the constant suffering Marta had endured because of her decision. We're in this together, he said firmly as he held her hand tenderly. Although they faced a path full of complex emotions and difficult moments, each step brought them a little closer to an authentic relationship. As they built their connection, they learned to face the hurts of the past together and find comfort in the present. The mix of pain and love led them to discover new ways to support each other in this healing process. They talk about how they could help not only heal their own wounds, but also create a better environment for the residents of the asylum, a space where everyone could feel valued and loved. This is how they began to implement small changes within the nursing home, programs where both Marta and Alex could actively engage with the elderly and provide them with emotional support. As they helped others with their own painful stories, they further strengthened their own family bond. The transformation in their relationship was a gradual but powerful process. Together they faced the shadows of the past while beginning to glimpse a future full of shared possibilities. They had taken the first step toward personal and family redemption, a chance to rewrite their story intertwined with love and mutual understanding. As Alex and Marta continued their reconciliation process, Alex began to experience profound transformation within himself. The heartfelt conversations they shared, the tears shed, and the moment of vulnerability not only helped them rebuild their relationship, but also opened their eyes to the true essence of life. As he spent time at the asylum and became involved with the residents, he began to realize that the true value of life lay not in material wealth, but in the human relationships and love that was shared between people. Every day, watching Marta interact with the elders, Alex felt his heart fill with admiration. She was not only a dedicated worker, he was a beacon of light to those who had faced loneliness and sadness. Through her actions, Marta demonstrated that every small gesture could make a big difference in another person's life. Alexander began to understand that love and compassion were far more valuable than any material goods he could possess. One day, while they were organizing a recreational activity for the residents, Alex watched as Marta moved among them with a genuine smile on her face. Her eyes sparkled as she listened to their stories and shared laughter. It was at that moment that he realized that true success was not measured by the number of zeros in your bank account, but by the ability to touch lives and build authentic connections. While helping the elders paint and create art, Alex had a revelation. Looking at the smiles on the residents' faces, he felt a surge of happiness he had never experienced when closing $1 million deal or receiving professional recognition. The satisfaction that came from helping others made him question his priorities. Why had he spent so much time chasing approval and social status when what really mattered was love and human connection? The weeks passed, and more he dedicated himself to activities within the asylum. Together with Marta, they began to implement programs where residents could share their talents and skills. Cooking, crafts, and storytelling classes soon emerged, where everyone could participate and feel valued. The joy in the air was palpable. Each shared laugh resonated as a reminder of the power of communal love. One afternoon, as they reflected on the positive impact they were having on the asylum, Alex looked at Marta with gratitude. "I never imagined my life could change this way," he confessed. "Being here with you, helping these people, is the most meaningful thing I have ever done." Marta smiled, feeling the depth of the change in her son. "It's amazing how we can find purpose even in the midst of pain," she responded wisely. "Sometimes it is the most difficult experiences that teach us the most valuable lessons." Alex nodded, recognizing how each challenge had been a stepping stone toward his personal growth. Over time, Alexander began to distance himself from his old life, full of superficial luxuries. Although he remained a successful businessman, he found greater satisfaction in dedicating his time to meaningful causes. Actively participating in the asylum became his new passion. "I want to be part of the positive change not only for Marta, but for all those who wanted love and acceptance." His relationship with Marta blossomed. They shared dreams and ideas about how to improve the quality of life in the asylum and outside of it. Conversations about the future were filled with hope and possibility. As they supported each other in healing old wounds, they also learned to celebrate every small achievement together. One day, during a community meeting at the nursing home, Alex decided to share his story with everyone present. He talked about his previous life full of excessive ambition, about how he had found his biological mother, and how that had changed his entire perspective. "Today I realize," he told the excited audience, "that it doesn't matter how much money I have. What is truly important is how we love and care for each other." The words resonated in the hearts of the elderly and nursing home staff. Many were inspired by his personal journey toward emotional redemption. In that moment, Alex understood that he had found his purpose, to help build a world where human relationships were valued above anything else. As they continued to work together at the asylum, both Marta and Alex felt their hearts filled with love and gratitude for the opportunities they were creating together. They had gone through a difficult process full of pain and discovery, but in the end they had emerged as a strong and indestructible team. This is how Alexander came to understand that true value lay not in material wealth accumulated over years, but in the deep, unbreakable human connections that could be cultivated with genuine love. With each day he spent with Marta and the nursing home residents, he knew he had found what was most important: a reconnected family and a renewed purpose for living with meaning. As time went by, the relationship between Alex and Marta grew stronger. They had overcome their differences, and every conversation, every shared laugh, helped them heal the wounds of the past. Alex realized that he had not only found his biological mother, but also a friend and partner in the fight to make the world a better place. The asylum had become his refuge, a space where he could share love and compassion with those who needed it most. Inspired by Marta's selfless service and the residents' moving stories, Alex decided it was time to act. "I can't sit idly by while there is so much to do," he told Marta one afternoon while they were organizing an activity for the elderly. "I want to help improve the quality of life here, not just for you, but for everyone who lives in this nursing home." Marta looked at him with gratitude and admiration. He knew that Alexander had the power and resources to make a significant difference. "That would be wonderful," she replied, feeling her heart fill with hope. "But it's not just about investing money. We also need to create an environment where everyone feels valued and heard." With that idea in mind, Alex began to design a plan to implement a comprehensive support program at the asylum. It was proposed not only to improve the facilities, but also to offer recreational activities, workshops, and socialization opportunities that would enrich the lives of residents. He spoke with Don Ricardo, the director of the asylum, who was enthusiastic about the idea. "We could create a space where the elderly can express their talents," Alex suggested during a meeting with the nursing home team. "From art classes to music and dance sessions. I want this place to be a home full of life." As he shared his vision, he could see his companions' faces light up. Everyone was excited at the prospect of transforming the asylum into a vibrant place. The project took shape quickly. Alex used part of his fortune to finance the creation of the program, ensuring that there were adequate resources for each activity. Additionally, she began to engage in the local community by asking for volunteers to help with classes and workshops. The response was overwhelming. Many people wanted to participate and contribute to the well-being of the elderly. Over the next few weeks, the asylum underwent a notable change. Residents began to participate in activities they had never imagined before. Some discovered hidden talents in painting or writing, while others enjoyed sharing their stories in group sessions. Joy and laughter filled the halls. Each day seemed brighter than the last. Alex felt indescribable satisfaction seeing how those changes positively impacted the lives of the residents. Now, they could share meaningful moments with each other and feel like an active part of a loving community. Marta was by his side every step of the way, supporting him and motivating him to move forward with his vision. One day, while they were organizing an art exhibition where residents showed their works, Marta looked at Alex and said, "I never thought this place could be transformed like this." His eyes shone with pride as he saw the impact they were having together. "Thank you for believing in me and them." "All this is possible thanks to you," Alex answered sincerely. "You are the one who has inspired me to see the true value of life." In that moment, he realized how far they had come together. Not only had they healed their own emotional wounds, but they were also helping others find joy and purpose. The program not only benefited residents, it also attracted the attention of local media that wanted to cover the story of the transformed asylum. News of the program's positive impact began to spread throughout the city, generating additional interest and support. With each success achieved, Alex felt more connected to Marta and to his own identity. He realized that he had found his true purpose, to use his wealth not only for himself, but to improve the quality of life of those around him. Material wealth was no longer the only thing relevant. I had learned that love and human connections were what truly enriched life. As the program continued to grow, Alex continued to look for ways to expand his efforts beyond the asylum. He began collaborating with other charities focused on the well-being of the elderly and vulnerable communities. The idea was to create a broader movement where everyone could contribute to the collective well-being. The relationship between Alex and Marta grew even stronger with each new challenge overcome together. They had gone through difficult times but had emerged triumphant, united by a common goal that transcended their past differences. This is how the outcome of the story not only brought family reconciliation, but also a lasting legacy, a program designed to provide love and support to those who needed it most. Together, they had shown that even the most painful stories could be transformed into opportunities to grow and heal. The seed planted by this new relationship blossomed into a garden full of hope and shared love, a constant reminder of the true value of life. Authentic human relationships built on unconditional love and mutual support. The story of Alex and Marta reached its culmination in a moment of deep reflection and personal transformation. After having traveled a path full of emotional challenges, reconciliation and growth, they both found themselves in a place where forgiveness and understanding had become fundamental pillars of their lives. The asylum, which had once been a simple physical space, had been transformed into a true home full of life, love, and community. The activities they had implemented together had not only enriched the lives of the residents, but had also given them both a new perspective on what it meant to be part of a family. Alex understood that true belonging was not measured by wealth or social status, but by authentic connections cultivated over time. One afternoon, while they were preparing for a special celebration at the asylum, Alex sat with Marta on one of the garden benches. They watched residents interact with each other, laughing and sharing stories. In that moment, Alex felt a wave of gratitude for everything they had accomplished together. "Marta," he said sincerely, "I can't express how much you have changed my life. I never imagined that finding my mother would lead me to discover my true purpose." Marta smiled, with tears of joy in her eyes. "And you have changed mine too. Seeing how you have grown and how you have decided to help others is a gift I could never have imagined." As they talked, they realized that the journey they had taken was not just about the two of them. It was also a lesson about the importance of forgiveness and how it can free people from the weight of the past. Both had faced their inner demons. Marta had had to deal with the pain of giving her son up for adoption, and Alex had had to confront his emotional emptiness despite having material success. But in the end, They found the strength to forgive not only each other, but also themselves. This liberating process had allowed them to open their hearts and embrace a future full of love and hope. The celebration at the asylum was a resounding success. Residents were excited about the planned activities. There was music, dancing, and delicious food. Each corner was decorated with works of art created by the elders during the classes taught by Alex and Marta. The atmosphere was filled with joy and camaraderie. As he watched everyone enjoy the event, Alex felt his heart fill with emotion. He realized that he had found something more valuable than any fortune: a chosen family, full of unconditional love and mutual support. In that decisive moment, he knew that his life would no longer be the same. He had embraced his new purpose. At the end of the day, as the sun began to set on the horizon, Alex took Marta's hand and told her, "I want to continue working together to expand this program and help more people. I want to make a difference in their lives." Marta smiled back. "I knew that together they could achieve great things. And I want to make sure we never forget how important forgiveness is," she added with a twinkle in her eye. "Every day is a new opportunity to heal our wounds and build something beautiful." The wisdom behind those words resonated deeply with Alexander. He knew that philosophy would be fundamental in his journey forward. With every step they took together into the future, they were both determined to promote a hopeful message about chosen family and personal redemption. They realized that love could overcome even the most difficult circumstances. Forgiveness had the power to heal deep wounds. This is how the story culminated with a powerful message. Second chances exist for those willing to face their fears and open themselves to love. Alex had found his way to personal transformation. He was no longer just a millionaire seeking material success, but a man committed to making the world a better place. Life had taught them many valuable lessons: the importance of forgiveness, the power of family love, and how each person has the potential to change their destiny. Looking to the future, both Alex and Marta knew that their journey was just beginning, but they were ready to face it together, armed with a new vision full of hope and shared purpose. In that small corner of the world where it all began, new friendships and deep human bonds blossomed. Their seed of unbreakable love was cultivated that would continue to grow for generations to come. This is how his story concluded, not as a closed ending, but as a new chapter full of promises and opportunities waiting to be explored. If you were inspired by this story, don't forget to leave your comment and share this video so that more people can discover the power of believing in themselves and others. Thank you for joining us, and until next time,